All right, what up, Flux Army? Welcome back to the channel. So we got another banger today. We're gonna dive deep in this one, guys. This is me and Dan talking about VCs and shills and what this industry is gonna end up looking like. So, question, as always, drop it down in the comments below. What is your opinion? The way I'm looking at this industry is 99% of it is centralized. Polygon, Solana, Avalanche, every single big layer one proof of stake chain, no matter how you try to break it down. If we were to build a simulator, right, and we were to analyze what is actually classified as something that is decentralized, right? And me and Dan covered that in the previous video. So if you haven't saw video 3 or 4, check them out. They'll be linked down below in the description. No, they won't. I never do actually do that, but they'll probably be around the screen somewhere and they'll be in that little corner where you can see all the videos that I've tagged in the thing. They're there. So question is, why does nobody compete with Google? Because Google just buys them out before they become a competitor. So what we're watching right now is literally Polygon buying up everything in the industry. Solana acquiring projects, putting out hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in build on us, build on Solana, build on Solana, build on Avalanche, $200 million for Harmony, right? These are all centralized blockchains and they are buying up or acquiring everything that enters this space. So how I look at it is, if you have a unique project that you build out and Polygon comes up and says, hey guys, we'll offer you $100 million for this project. And Polygon comes up and say, hey guys, project's worth about 2 million. What if we give you 3 million for it? Like, nah, not worth it. 5 million. And everybody has a price, right? So these centralized cryptocurrencies are getting up so big that they are going to buy up this entire industry. Well, mark my words, it's going to happen, right? So either people are going to stand up and take a stance, or they're kind of try to sugarcoat it and say, yeah, it's okay if some things are centralized and some things aren't because we need them. And it's all just your opinion. So I want to hear your guys' opinion. Personally, I think greed always wins. I think at the end of the day, if you can invest in something like Cadena or Flux that's 100% decentralized, or you can invest in something like Solana, Polygon, or Avalanche, which are 100% decentralized. Now they claim they're going to this DAO, whatever. We know how that works, guys. It's not going to happen. They're still going to be centralized because the proof of stake model, there is no way to separate it and keep it decentralized. I don't think anybody cares. I don't think anybody's cares. I think I'm going to follow the money. And I normally try to do what's right and not put my money into projects that I don't actually believe in long term, but I miss out on so much money. And this industry is not going to change. I think it's going to be a bunch of legacy businesses. PayPal, Visa are centralized. Microsoft, centralized, right? Like eventually they're going to make Microsoft DAO and they're going to come out and they're going to launch a crypto project, right? With a quote unquote DAO that's a proof of stake, right? And they're going to have billions of dollars that they'll make it faster than Solana. Like, why do I even need anything? I just need to make sure that transactions are transparent that anybody can see on a blockchain. But doing that in a centralized manner, ooh, I can outperform every one of you. I can add more computational power. I can throw more money at marketing. So that leads us to the question, right? What do you guys think? Do you think that a majority of people are just going to stay invested in proof of stake projects even though they know that they are 100% centralized because they are making that money? Or do you think once something like Cadena is out and we actually have another option that is decentralized, that a majority of players will move over to Cadena? Now, definitely seen it Flux and ICP. Yes, right? What a great like flagship for the industry. Us as the community just said F you. Now here's the thing that I think ICP did wrong. If ICP wouldn't have came out with all that VC money and had price at $700 and then every single retail investor that aped in just got annihilated, would ICP be in the same position? Or was it just the fact that their name's ICP and Insane Clown Posse? Drop your memes below. Drop your best ICP meme on Twitter and tag me in it, please. So me and Dan are going to dive deep down this rabbit hole. And people are going to be like, oh, bro, all you're doing is talking about Flux. Absolutely, I'm talking about Flux because Flux is the only blockchain, and I mean only, that will come on the show and answer any question. Dan's the only one that'll come and have these conversations with me. They don't want to talk about this. They don't want to talk about VCs. They don't want to talk about transactions per second. They don't want to talk about anything because like you can't scale. If you can, it's going to be a layer 2 something or other that's centralized, right? Like, if Ethereum's Lifeline is a centralized layer 2 scaling solution, it just doesn't make sense to me, guys. I can't get over the fact of how this industry is going to play out. But guess what, guys? We're going to make a lot of money because I'm done playing the, oh, I'm not going to invest in it because it's centralized or whatever. We're going to chase the money, guys. And Polygon, mark my words, is going to engulf this entire industry. So every time I get into one of these DAOs, like I have a hard time not buying more Matic, not buying more Polygon, not buying more Luna. Luna, on the other hand, is something I absolutely love. Now, Luna's really sharp, but I don't know how I feel about centralization and a stable coin. But I do love the fact that it's an algorithmic stable coin. So my thing is, who's going to be the first person to replicate Algo's stablecoin and bring it onto Cadena or stand it up on a Flux node so it's on a 100% decentralized application And before I overtalk it, shut up, bro. All right, guys, this video is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor. I do not advise that you buy, sell, trade, or hodl any cryptocurrency. You always need to consult with your own financial advisor before making any investing decisions. That being said, all right, Dan, so where do you think that we're going to be heading? Like, where is the future of Web3? Let's start at like the beginning of what has, played out over the last like 3 to 6 months and talk a little bit about like what the tech is changing. And then let's dive into like where this could be headed over the next, 6 to 12 months.
I think we have to look at, before we get too far into the weeds on that, we have to look at where the crypto space, the blockchain space came from, right?
Yep.
Ryan, you'll know what I'm talking about. We're full of buzzwords. ICOs, IEOs, fintech, DeFi, it's what is the soup du jour? So we've had a lot of these platforms or these projects come out, like false prophets, really, and saying this is the next big thing, right? And then along comes Web3, and people are mildly jaded in the crypto space. They're mildly jaded because they've seen this hype cycles, right? Web3 is no joke, and I'm not saying that because of Flux. You take Flux out of the equation, Web3 will take us to a different level. It will give us the opportunity for regular people to participate in the infrastructure that is the internet. It will push out large, massive controllers and gatekeepers. It will force the best part of Web3 to me. It will force these legacy-based tech companies to all of a sudden change their business practice model. Why? Because there is an alternative, right? Yep. There is an alternative now. Twitter is great, right? Now people use it, and that's kind of where the crypto folks all go to coalesce, right? Yep. But in reality, their deplatforming and some of the things that they've done ethically is very challenging, and they can do them because there's no alternative. Well, now Dan with 6 coders can create another Twitter on Web3 that's decentralized, and now there's a competition. Yep. So everything that was created in Web2, so every legacy project that exists from websites to applications to databases to anything that runs in Web2 will have to be recreated in Web3. Some of it can be lift and shift, like they take a project, they Dockerize it, they deploy it on Web3. Here's Web2, now we're in Web3, now it's decentralized, running on decentralized nodes network. But the bigger part is how they manage those companies. I truly believe we're going to be looking at autonomous network. I think you're going to look at people like the folks that drive for Uber and say, why do we give X% to the Uber company? Can't that be ran by the individuals who drive in a governance model and all of them vote and they know where the company's going? And hey, maybe if Uber is successful, then we'll be more successful, right? We set the rates, we set the mission of the business, and we give the opportunity to the people that are participating in that to be successful.
Is there a way for legacy projects like, say, Twitter, for example, to Dockerize Twitter, stand it up on Flux, and then deploy some DAO or re-governance model that allows that to be fully decentralized and ran by the people? Or is it something that you have to start completely from scratch to?
It is, but the big thing you have to remember is it affects the revenue stream. And there's a new level of expectation with it being in a decentralized platform. I mean, Jack left Twitter for a reason, and I think what you'll see is probably within the next few months the reason why he did that. Most of the time, you get to a certain point in an organization where you start to see possible competitors, but you've created this juggernaut that is, how do I move? It's like the Titanic. I see the iceberg, and the iceberg's coming. How do I turn that ship to get away from that iceberg, or is that iceberg going to take me out? Personally, I think you're going to see shifts from large one-off platforms to many that start to work together within each other, right? So instead of having one Twitter that's controlled by Twitter, right, you have multiple social messaging sites or social media sites that all kind of come back to center at some point and work together, right? So I mean, you saw this in Web 2 when, Facebook bought Instagram and somebody bought Snapchat and somebody bought right? So that was acquisition, right?
It reminds me of Polygon. Polygon's buying up the entire crypto space.
Well, and I think what you'll see is you'll see these new companies want to work with different platforms ultimately. We talk about interchain operability. Well, what about inter-DApp operability, right? So having 2 dApps working together to ban different things. So Snapchat does something different than what Instagram does. So instead of them buying it out and being a conglomerate that's held by shareholders and individuals, they work together perhaps in some level of decentralization where they're using different parts of the project.
Do you think that somebody like Polygon, because everybody has a price, right? And all projects that launch are, even if they're going to be a DAO eventually, they almost all start with DAO as a roadmap goal plan. Like, what's stopping Polygon from just buying up every project that launches in the crypto space that has any potential? And then eventually the whole crypto space would just be bought up by VC projects. If people if people in the community don't start taking a stand and saying, hey, we're not using centralized, that I think that the centralized players are going to get so big in this space that they can just buy up everything, and it's going to be,
well,
it's
the
hard
weird
to say.
thing, Ryan, is I see VC investment in crypto projects touted as a success. You go to a lot of these different, and trust me, I've been to just about everyone.
Yeah, I believe you, man.
If you go to these websites, they say, who are our partners? And there's these massive VC investment arms, the Sequoias of the world, the, Tiger Globals, all these different ones. Is there a place for VCs in crypto? Well, hell yes, there's a place for them.
We have to have them.
Is it the controlling arm of your project? It is absolutely not. And if they are, then you are not decentralized and you are a problem. And, I'm telling you right now, I'm already seeing VCs, large VCs coming in and lobbying for legislation to control Web3. It's happening. It's happening right now, like literally. And I'm calling the people out that are doing it, right? I'm calling out the people that are false prophets who, under the guise of, web next iteration of decentralized computational network, they're saying that they are, but they aren't, and if people need to educate themselves about who controls your project, because if you want a massive conglomerate and VC to control your project, then stay in legacy systems, because that's exactly what was built for that, right?
You got PayPal's and Visas all over.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't want that, then what you're doing is you're looking at, projects like Flux and Cadena and other ones like that are completely decentralized. So
because no blockchain that's decentralized can ever outcompute something that is centralized, right? And be more secure than something that is centralized until it gets on like Bitcoin's global decentralization level. Or it seems like that you could build Solana on top of Visa, right? And then just have a better Solana.
Yeah, TPS is a red herring. I mean, if you're a layer one and you want to have like a ridiculous TPS target, fine. You know what I mean? If you're doing DeFi like what Solana's doing and they need good TPS and they can keep the network up, that's great. But I think what the bigger question is it's not just a one and done. It's not a layer one. It's a layer one, layer two, and then there'll be eventually a layer three on top of that. So, to me, projects that have already looked at layer ones as the kind of the entry or the gateway to the platform, but scale with layer two. And you don't have to necessarily use your chain. Cadena doesn't need a layer two. Why? Because they have Flux, right? Solana would not need a layer two because they have, if they would like to use this, Flux, right? So there are other projects that are already building components on top of these layer one network to almost act as wetlands. I heard Will from KDA say this, and I kind of adopted it. Wetlands, or not only that, like progress areas where people are building on these layer two platforms that then interact with all the layer twos and then into the layer one. So that's a lot of tech talk, but what it means is this: it means that chains can work together, interchain operability, to create and deliver a unified platform that is Web 3.0.
All right, YouTube. So that's a wrap. Let me know what you guys thought. I can't wait to go back through all these videos and read the comments. If you guys definitely didn't hit up videos 1 through 5 already, please do me a favor, swing down. They're all great. We're just, the boys just shooting it, just bullshitting back and forth. I love Dan. He's definitely my favorite COO. The only one, man. I said this in the last video too, like specific cryptocurrency that I won't say anymore, that I won't make any videos for anymore, that I used to make a lot of videos for, that I would go out of my way, and I wasted good 10 hours, if not 15 hours in Miami trying to make a video for this company, and trying to link up with their co-founders, trying to link up with their team, and just go record for like 2 hours so I could do exactly what I was doing with Dan. And I ended up wasting, personally, like I said, 10 to 15 hours of my own time. And they said they owed me one, right? Actually, they said they owed me one before I wasted all those hours. So they owed me 2. So I said, all right, so instead of owing me 2, right, let's throw it together in one video. And let's just shoot it like this, because then I could break it up into like 4, 6 things. It's so much more convenient and easier for me. And if I'm marketing for your business for free, and I've done it 100 times, right? You would think the least that you could do is spare an extra 30 minutes of your day. I don't even want to tell you guys I don't even want to tell you guys the response I got from that cryptocurrency company that I no longer will make videos for. So, I mean, I will, but my rates are, you know, and that's why I love Dan. Always goes out of his way. Like, just answers my text, never feel like I'm annoying him. Like, so this isn't me shilling Flux. This is me showing Flux the respect and showing Dan the respect that he's shown me. So if you guys got a problem with that, another channel over there, guys. Swing over, show Dan some love, DAK_Flux on Twitter. And yeah, shout out to everybody in the Flux Army, guys. I love you guys, man. And I love this project, and I love promoting for good, decentralized projects that no matter what happens over the next couple years, I see Flux being a dominating player. Web3 is revolutionizing this industry. That is the only part that I'm like holding on to that is keeping us decentralized. Like, Flux has the ability to take something that is 100% centralized and then make it 98% centralized. You know, like it's definitely cannot use the word decentralized. Something can't be 50% centralized and 50% decentralized. It's either 100% decentralized, or it can be 75% centralized and then maybe 25% nonsense. But like, I just don't see why we need centralized anything in this industry. And I hope it all weeds itself out. I know Dan wants to see like Solana crush it and all these other blockchains because it's smart for Flux who want that to happen, because it's just good business, right? Like, they're in the business to provide that service and not judge, right? Like, that's the part about being decentralized. So whatever reason, unless the community votes that they don't, but it just doesn't make sense for the community because Flux benefits from that. So personally, I don't know how I feel about it. That's why I want you guys to let me know how you feel about it, because I'll go either way. You guys want to go down that rabbit hole? We'll go down it. I'm down. I'll run down that centralized rabbit hole with you guys and see how much money we can suck out of that market. But as far as being like long-term coins that I'm like marrying and I'm like diamond hands on that, like Bitcoin, Flux, there's only two. Bitcoin, KDA. CADX too, well, CADX is going to be different. So it might see me move a lot of those resources into CADX because cross-chain DEX, man, oh man. So if you guys haven't seen my video, my Flux breaking news video where CADX and Dan comes on the show to announce like the CADX launch, CADX setting up nodes on Flux, you definitely check it out. It's a banger, man. That's an awesome video. Probably one of my favorites. I was so excited when I heard that was happening because we don't have any decentralized DEXs, right? Let alone a cross-chain decentralized gas-free DEX. CADX is going to be off the hook, guys. Love you guys. Peace.